Strange Places live on KMUN. You guys, take it away.
How wonderful life is. How wonderful life is.
And the score about Camel's mildness and flavor. Friends, you try Camels for 30 days.
Talking about filter tip tires, because all the pleasure comes through. The taste is great. Yes, filter tip tires with the pearl drip.
Others devise larger and larger rocket bombs, more and more powerful explosives, and more impenetrable armor plating. And the score about Camel's mildness and flavor. Friends, you try Camels for 30 days. Make your own 30-day Camel mildness test and learn why. Steady. He's got it. That's really something when you're doing 335 miles an hour, 25,000 feet up.
How wonderful life is. How wonderful life is. How wonderful life is.
And the score about Camel's mildness and flavor. Friends, you try Camels for 30 days. Make your own 30-day Camel mildness test.
talking about filter tip title because all the pleasure comes through. That
I started with 17. Well, we're already on Choose Your Fighter. I've already played the samples, so we're going for Choose Your Fighter.
Now, 유닛은 소유하고 소실감. Friends talent, great talent, peerless victory.
Eddie, Jimmy, Marion, Shuko versus Oh, perfect! Round 3, 2, you win!
이 가게 오도는 뭔지 알잖아.
Duke, Eddie, Jimmy, Marion, Rebecca, Shuko versus Oh, perfect! Round.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not Spotify. This is not Apple Music. This is raw, live, electronic music straight off the Roland SP 404, courtesy of our local geniuses, Strange Places, in the studio, live for your listening pleasure. I intercede here with a brief pause. Stay tuned. We're going to kick it back over to the guys for the second half of the Strange Places set. Enjoy it.
Julian West, professor of science at the University of California.
Experiments with hypnosis and LSD.
working under Jolly West to brag about hypnotizing Sirhan Sirhan. Was this the tie that we have from Dr. Blue for the Jolly West?
Jolly and West. Jolly and West. Jolly and West. Jolly and West.
Unwitting dose of LSD. Unwitting dose of LSD. Unwitting dose of LSD.
That was working under Jolly West to brag about hypnotizing Sirhan Sirhan.
Jolly and West. Jolly and West. Jolly and West.
Chemicals, so-called truth serums. Chemicals, so-called truth serums.
But very fine line, very fine lips. There was no teeth. It was the inside of the mouth. It was kind of like a real gums. Maybe it was very fine line, very fine lips.
Well, we would cross over the border into New Hampshire. I think we started to see this light following. Actually, in the very beginning.
Was she emotional about all this? Very much so. Very emotional. She would have to stop and drink water every once in a while, and also
And it followed us for about 30 miles. At least I can.
And all the while, you and Barney were discussing it. What is this? What is that?
the ears. There was only two small orifices on each side of the head with looked like a couple of small lobes that might set.
Well, we would cross over the border into New Hampshire. I think we started to see this light following. Actually, in the very beginning.
But very fine line, very fine lips. There was no teeth. That was inside of the mouth. It was kind of like a real.
Saucers. We had no idea what a flying saucer looked like. But we had no fear, just curiosity. We were trying to identify this craft.
We have the three most cited AI scientists: Jeffrey Hinton, Joshua Benjo, We have huge names in tech like Bill Gates. We don't need to go down the list one by one, since there are hundreds of the three leading AI companies. The intelligence and capability of humanity. Of the three leading AI companies, Google, DeepMind, OpenAI, and Anthropic. For its racist comments and praise of Hitler. or murder humans. But AI researchers, ever curious about what AI might do past the intelligence and capability of humanity. Not just a single brilliant human, but the collective processing ability of every human alive simultaneously. Build or murder human. Build or murder human. Build or murder human. From any kind of regular software engineering. Build or murder human. See what comes out on the other end. Chris Olah is a co-founder of Anthropic and
You just heard a full. Oh no! I'm getting a what they call this an audible, although it has no sound. A hand signal. That's right. We are only 2/3 of the way through this delicious live music set by local Astoria act Strange Places. And again, now with no further ado, over to Strange Places.
Somewhere in that noisy mass of long twigs, corsets, fishnet stockings, high heels, ostrich feathers, and sequins, Evie finally managed to find the wardrobe business. When the hand tapped lightly, almost tentatively on the shoulder, Dominic jumped so much it was a miracle his jerking finger didn't pull the trigger. But that much he did manage to achieve. Who was looking for? Following functions what and what I am as a man. The dove could find nowhere to perch because there was water over all the surface of the earth.
One, Marcus. I bet you didn't think you'd hear a Bible song.
All right, pathogens.
All right, y'all, round of applause, radio applause. Radio applause is a little thin sounding because there's only so many bodies we can pack into this room. You just heard from Strange Places. It's a local act you can see, if you're lucky, in actual strange places around the area. We just got treated to a live radio set on KMUN. This is Key of Z. And as I mentioned, we are, of course, sitting in the middle of our pledge drive. So before we get to a intimate conversation with the band, which is coming up in just a moment, I want to remind you of the stakes. We have, here, let me turn on Liz's mic here, who has come here to keep me on a leash and to remind us the numbers. She's kind of a numbers person. Is that true?
That is not true.
No,
However,
it's really
that
a
is
joke, actually.
I do happen to know. Yeah. So, are you interested in where we're at?
Yeah, actually, I would love to know.
Okay, we so far have raised just over half of our goal of 80,000. So, I want to give big thanks to all of the luminaries that donated to seed the pledge drive and inspire others to give, and they raised, I want to say, around 35,000. So sincere big thanks for people that are wanting to support us in that way. And things are trucking along, but we are, we still have a long way to go.
Well, with that in mind, I would say it's Wednesday. I feel like we could step it up a little bit. We also, as you mentioned before the break, have a challenge grant that has a timer on it. Let me see if I remember the details. Challenge grant means that someone who's already supporting us has said that they will step up and support more. In this case, we've got someone on a $50, is that a monthly? Is that right?
Yeah, they currently have a repeatership,
okay,
as we call them here, and they're willing to increase it for an additional $50 a month. So that really adds up fast. We really want to achieve that. And the deal is with Marla, who is this generous supporter.
Bless you, Marla.
Yes, she has brought forward that challenge and is asking for 10 new repeaters or monthly contributors to sign up today, right now, and we will receive that increase to her donation.
In other words, if you were bound to do this anyway, and you've been kind of like, let's say maybe like putting it off, this is your call to adventure. You have a hero moment. Here's what you can do to help Marla match this. Your dollar will go further if you call us right now. I'm going to lay on one extra inducement. This was an idea that came up, I think, just while we were all hanging out here. So this is pure creativity, but check this out. Let's say you also wanted to phone in a little, conundrum, a little issue that you've got going in your life. You might be in need of a little advice. I would not ask ChatGPT about this problem that you have. I wouldn't do it. We're about to talk to Morrison in particular, probably why not to trust AI. I have a feeling he has some thoughts, but if you ask this question that you've got on your mind to AI, they're going to turn around and tell the federal government about it. That's just a fact. Here's what you should do instead. Call us. Pledge a little money. Help us out. We need it. And in turn, we're going to all, as a group, collectively meditate on this. And to be clear, we're humans, everyone here, correct? Yes? Yeah. Nodding?
Yes.
100% human meat.
50-50.
Well, that's true. You count the sampler.
Yeah, the sampler, 50-50.
Morrison himself will weigh in with all the might and power of his own lived experience and the sampler if it can be of use, and will give you advice here on the air. You'll hear it aired out. Call now. Again, 503-325-0010. You can also go to KMUN.org, smash that donate button, and because I am now aware of the fact that the majority of you are mailing paper checks, which is amazing, to be honest, you're welcome to do that. P.O. Box 269, that is Astoria, Oregon 97103. Finally, if you want to come hang out. One more time, Liz, I forgot the address. If you want to just literally drive your car here right now.
Yeah. Door is open. Just got to ring the doorbell. It is 1445 Exchange Street in Astoria, Oregon. We're the beautiful, I guess it's green.
Yeah.
Is it a greenhouse?
I honestly...
Got a new paint job recently. It's
Okay.
gorgeous. Just ring the doorbell. There's some of us hanging out if you want to bring by a cash donation or a paper check in person. It doesn't get any more analog than that.
Oh, my God. I love this. Okay. You've got your instructions. We will all be quite happy to hear that phone ring with your problems and your offer of support. It's a nice trade. And with no further ado, let's get into the interview portion. This is absolutely something you can't get off Spotify, although these guys are on Spotify. But this interview isn't on Spotify, is it? Let me introduce. First off, we got Morrison. And Morrison, well, sorry to cut you off there. Wouldn't you also introduce your bandmate?
Oh, this is Oscar.
Hi there.
And I got a couple of questions already just right off the lid. I wanted to listen in and just kind of take stock of where we're going to start on this. All right. Your samples are leading us into all sorts of interesting places. But before we get into the theme, back it up for me. How did the two of you start playing music together?
Take it off.
Yeah, well, we were artists, got a residency right across from me, visual art through the AVA, and it was during lockdown, April of
2020.
2020, yeah, April of 2020. We had the building pretty much to ourselves, and I remember Morrison saying, hey, we got all the space, might as well do something with it, and I had just some really simple toy grade music makers, and we just started recording. And there was a Tenacious D HBO episode where he's like, always record. And it's super random, but we've recorded. You could go back on YouTube and find a lot of our old stuff, and it's just been chipping away.
Yeah, 5 years worth of material. Like, really, we've we were kind of like a real underground band here at Astoria. We were always in the studio, because we were in that building for a couple of years, and now we're in another building right downtown. We have like a 2-block radius of where we'll perform. So we just like, this is our longest show. We're on tour because I think we're like 5 blocks away from the studio.
Heck yeah, Strange Places Tour 2025. I also got a shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Just a shout out if y'all get a chance to get your hands on it.
Oh, yeah, anybody who donates the next hour, come get a free shirt.
Yeah. Additional
challenge right here. Shirts in the studio.
Band merch. Match donations, now's your chance. I would call. Thank you for that additional plug. I really appreciate that. Now, Morrison, I'm curious. I observed something. I know a lot of bands that will go, on average, a lot of times you think maybe a year and a half, an active band, if they get in the studio every year and a half, put out a new album, everyone thinks that band's really cruising. I think I'm observing you two have a slightly different relationship to the blend between a recording and a practice and a jam idea station. Tell me a little bit about how much recording you may have done together.
Oh, how numbers of songs or just the process?
Anything. Tell me a little bit about it.
Well, what we just played, we've only worked on the last week.
Right.
We just made for your show. Like, it was only, like, we had only designed it out. Oscar, our process is we just go back and forth. We chip away is what we call it, and we just chip away until we find the idea of the song, and then normally like a sampler or the MPCs or any of the gear synthesizers, whatever we have to play on, we're looking for the sound. We call it the Strange Places sound, and this one for your show and this. Thank you so much for letting us play. It was an honor. But we had an idea in mind. Went through. We had started out with like 20 songs and whittled them down to 9. And then we're like, okay. And then yesterday and today, we just themed it out. We wanted it to stay fresh. Like, we didn't even really know anything until like yesterday and today, because that's just for this moment. And that's also how we record. We like to keep things loose and tight, and as we progress, either with taking away or adding to, it's just a little back and forth, just till we find what we're really looking for.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You guys, again, I think that a lot of times electronic music can get over polished and stale because someone has just sat in front of a computer and just grinded it out. You can almost kind of taste the coffee and the Adderall, not to say you guys aren't indulging in something, but what I love here is it's just listening to it. It is a live sound. Y'all are absolutely a live act.
Yeah.
And I've heard recordings, and that liveness, that juiciness is there on the tape as well. I want to really commend that. Tell us a little bit, for those that are just totally unfamiliar with what it's like to do a live electronic performance. Tell us a little bit about your tooling here. What have you got in front of you? What are you playing on?
Oh, well, this is, I consider this my baby. The new, it's the Roland Mach 2 404.
Sampler.
The sampler. And then we do have, we didn't bring them because of the space in the studio, but we have MPCs and synthesizers. This was like really a scaled down version just for today. But we
Radio edition.
Radio edition. We didn't want to pack it out, but we wanted to be able to say what we wanted to say. So today we probably ran through the set like 3 times since about 7:30 this morning. Kept it fresh. Went to Labor Temple, had breakfast, came back, and I was like, you know what? We feel comfortable with what we wanted to say, and then that's we just came here to say it.
It really came through. Oh, go ahead, Oscar.
And I think that's a lot of what the songs are. Not we don't spend a month on a song. If we can get it to a point where we get the point across. And it gets us to a place where we can kind of groove out. I think a lot of this is more for our entertainment, and we just enjoy sharing it with people that like it as well. But I don't know where my thought was quite going.
That's a complete thought in my mind.
Okay.
I will say this idea of doing things for yourself is really actually, I think, kind of philosophically interesting, because I've noted a lot of music that is, let's put it this way, survived our era, where it's very hard, isn't it? It's hard to have the time, hard to have the space, hard to have the gear, hard to get the crew together. And the infrastructure to support music is kind of slowly crumbling, isn't it?
So, definitely.
In some ways, although I do feel that the city of Astoria is making steps in a direction to support the arts. We've had a little bit of some rough interactions recently, but I do feel through this recent, there was a group of us artists that got together with a representative from the city. So I definitely hear you. I do feel hopeful that Astoria is going to change their tone and be more supportive of the music scene.
Guys, let's get into that. I think that's a really interesting thing to discuss. I think that, I've been in the area. I'm a relatively new guy still. I came through about two and a half years ago, and I noticed something interesting right away. There's a lot of creative energy in the city. I think it is also kind of a case of it's hard to know how to channel all that energy properly into an infrastructure where people can regularly go out to see it. And Morrison, I know you have touched so many projects. Strange Places is the latest, and before that, you've had a whole lot of experience collaborating with people, trying to get energy in a conduit. Tell me a little bit about the scene right now, for those of us that are listening that aren't really kind of as aware. I know there have been some pretty interesting stuff, creative opportunities to play out in unconventional places this summer. Do you guys want to give me a little background on that, where you've been playing out?
Oh, well, this summer it was just like, I don't know, it felt like 2025, even leaving out like last year, there was so many places have opened and closed, and you're just trying to hold the scene together, really. Like, this is like our music or any music like ours. It's more of an underground subculture kind of thing.
Yeah.
You have plenty of great bands, the folk bands and any of the other bands that come to town, but they're, that's their scene, a different kind of like new, young, subculture kind of scene that has to have a place to go. You have to have a place to kind of listen to that kind of music.
Absolutely.
And over the last few years, every time a place would get going, it would get shut down. So this year we had to resort to going outside. It was like everything that we had booked was the places were just being shut down. So what we ended up doing was Nick, another fellow DJ here, has his show on Saturdays.
That's right.
He's he's a powerhouse for Astoria. I love that kid to death. But we were doing shows outside, and another Janik, a great DJ of town, amazing saxophone player. He was doing shows at the Pit.
Right.
And those were like the Stinky Beach shows were outside, and
That's
we had the fortunate, we were able to play earlier in the summer with bands from Seattle and the Bay Area that were just coming through to Astoria to play. And Nick and the other people like Nick, they were supporting our music scene. And to me, I love being a part of something where bands are coming to Astoria, you play with them, they go on their way. That band makes a little gas money to get on to their next spot, because this is underground. Everybody's it's all about gas money just to get to the next venue. Maybe if you're lucky, you buy a coffee on the way. But so we were able to play with that, and it felt like for a moment during this summer when we were playing out, and there was shows that the craziest show of the summer was Cello Goblin. He played down there. That was the most insane thing any of us have ever seen, and to come to town. But it was, you could feel that energy. You talk about energy, talk about creativity, that's where you felt it.
Yeah.
It was in the air. And then all of a sudden it got shut down. And you can't do it. And a lot of places that when you feel that energy get building up and then it gets put down, that stifles creativity.
Sure.
It makes people not want to go out again. It makes people not to want to create again.
Sure.
It's like beautiful creative energy met with like stale, harsh, non-understanding energy. It's very it blocks all the beauty of what art and music is.
Yeah, I think I'm totally resonating with what you're sharing. This vision of a vibrant local music scene, which we do have, especially if you think about the size of the region. It's not populous, right? So by ratio, I think we've got a lot of stuff going on, and the idea that it's been difficult to find the exact support that you need to just have, as you mentioned, coffee and gas. A meal would be nice, a roof over your head. What I love is to see the tenacity of, these players that you've talked about and the whole network of people. I've been out to these shows over the summer, and it reminds me, have you guys ever read a book called Energy Flash about the early kind of like drum and bass techno scenes in the UK?
Well, I'll have to check that out.
Let me tell you, first off, great book. It's Simon Reynolds. But when you go back and listen to, this was an era and a region that defined a genre, several genres. So much of what we're also listening to when we listen to electronic music, we're deriving it from this crowd of people, really, that preceded us. And if you listen to what they were doing, very similar. They didn't have. I'm telling you, the scenes in the early '90s, they were. Yeah, running generators. I saw you guys with a generator, outside, by any means necessary.
By any means. You want the music to get through. Like, to me, it's like if we didn't do anything, summer 2025 would have passed by and nothing would have happened, like, musically or creatively. Like, we were working on albums. We're working on our 4th album this year. This, what we just played, we'll be recording, like, next week as an album.
Great.
But this will be album number 4 for the year. But we really wanted to start and get out, because we were like, we were DJing with Janet and Hurt Locker and a bunch of the guys at the Pit, and that really was a lot of fun. And then we played the shows with the other bands, so we were built. It was like every week you could look on our calendar in the music studio. There was a lot of red on the calendar because we were doing stuff. The momentum was building. So, and even this being here now is part of that momentum, because I was like, they kind of tried to sweep the rug out from under us, but we had to pivot.
Sure,
because the music has to get out there.
It does, and let me take a moment to speak on this. I think I can say on behalf of KMUN, this radio station, there is something that does happen and will continue to happen, which is that these are very connected topics. We're a broadcast organization. What's our mission, right? It's literally to take the talent that we have in our community and to give them a voice, right? So, likewise, this organization has got its own sort of, governmental problems, right? We are currently, as, not to get into another pledge drive thing, but we're all aware here. It's the federal rescission package, right? It's the way that the administration and Congress has decided to give us a little heat. But the point is that KMUN, because we are a community organization above all else, it is literally just operated by our neighbors, and we're funded by our neighbors. We're funded by our listeners. Point there is that you can bank on us being a way for you to come get access to the mic, access to a line in, access to the radio waves, and regardless of how much scrappy we have to be outside, and when we can get inside, and when we can find a lease, and when we can find that network of support, everybody here in this building is absolutely on team local artists, and
that's awesome.
We're just extremely happy that you, I mean, it's just I'm amazed. I'm amazed at how productive, how prolific the scene is, and you guys in particular. I'm just really impressed. Hats off.
And we popped our head out, and we had a little bit of beef from the cops and different things that just kind of put a sour taste. But we're not going to go climb back in the studio and stay there. Now that we've got a taste of some live showing, and it's just too fun to get out of the box.
I love this. So Strange Places is a studio project that's got a little taste of the salt air.
That's true. We're fishermen. Our next tour is on the water.
I love to hear this. So we got a couple of minutes before the break here, and that's going to be a wrap for this. We're going to transition part 2 into some more playlisted music. I'm going to be backed up by my co-host Liz here. Here's a couple things I had scrawled down, notes, listening, samples, references. Tell me what you know about Jolly West.
Oh, that's Mr. MK Ultra.
I don't know how much we can even get into.
I know. Well, I feel like all the things that are going on, like this, actually all this that's going on, our set was kind of designed just from like the front pages of Life Now.
Yes.
It's just,
heard the AI.
Well, that was the next thing on my list here. I wanted to see, you got a couple of minutes to connect Jolly West, MK Ultra, Chaos, Charles Manson, and Anthropic and OpenAI. Go.
Wow. Yeah. Jeez. We're conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, well, I think conspiracy theorists, people are hoping for some sort of base granite, and you know what? Reality is just not like that. So it's fun for us to kind of point out these areas of reality that exist, just like the gentleman and lady talking about being chased by the UFO. And these are real people having real experiences. And these are strange places that we like to go to, and just like, hey, society's got some real interesting soft buttons to push.
I see what you did there, by the way. That was an amazing plug for the band.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of, we do think about it like that. Like a lot of times with the music or you get influenced by what you see or what you feel. But really it's like, even I scour the internet after I come up with you come up with the song title first, and then you get the samples, or even if it's a lot of the stuff I sing, I didn't sing for this one, but a lot of times I will sing. But you get the title first and then kind of fill in the samples behind it and see if that's, if it gets clear enough, strong enough message out, then, that's a complete thought. Like most of our songs are like just complete thoughts.
I totally agree with you. I think I find it fascinating, the whole thing. First off, it's you guys have got a great set together. The fact that you did this for our listening audience today, hats off to you both. I really apprioate that contribution, that love.
Thank you. It was an honor.
I also want to really encourage everybody to follow Strange Places. Go find them. You got YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify.
Oh, yeah,
most importantly, outside. You guys just go find them outside. We're about to break over for station identification in a few minutes. Oscar, you in particular, good to have you. Morrison.
Thank you.
I am really happy we crossed places. By the way, a little note, the reason I know about this project at all is literally because of KMUN. My very first night, Nick Stevens had y'all in a year and a half ago. I sat out in the hallway and I said, someday I'll put those guys on the air. So thank you for making my dreams come true.
Oh, there you have
it. You're listening to KMUN Astoria, KTCB Tillamook, and we're also streaming live on the web at KMUN.org.